Well, I guess there's a organization, a tax-exempt organization called Cosmos and Chronos, and that name was selected by Velikovsky, and I set up the organization and was the first executive director of it, and that was like in the early 70s. I knew Velikovsky first, and Velikovsky got me invited to the first conference in Portland, and then that's when I met them. And then at another conference close to Toronto, the one at McMaster, is where I met Wall, and it was just kind of met a lot of people from then on. The fourth state of matter is plasma. You have the solid, you heat a solid, get a liquid, heat a liquid, get a gas, heat a gas, basically strip electrons off, and that makes a plasma. And that's what plasma TV type is. The little pixels are basically little plasmas. And neon signs, fluorescent lights, those are all plasma. And the sun's a plasma. 99% of the universe is plasma. Oh, that's absolute standard science. I never have really approved of the term electric universe, because to me it's plasma universe, because, like I say, it's well accepted that 99% of or more of the universe is in the plasma state, which is electromagnetic. And the electric just says, we'll take 1/2 of the electromagnetic. And my thinking is, I just call it plasma universe, and which is basically what it is. Now you can describe various aspects strictly electrically, but those are all subsets of the plasma universe to me. Basically, that's correct, but it's anytime you have an electric current, you also generate a magnetic field. And so it is all electromagnetic. And astronomers talk about these very strong magnetic fields out in the universe. They don't like to talk about currents causing them, because for years they said it was all neutral. And now they say, well, okay, there's magnetic fields, but we can't mention currents because we've talked neutral for all these years. But I think, Wall's right, you do have a lot of influences that are electrically caused, but that's basically electromagnetic, which is basically plasma. Well, that's plasma. The Birkeland currents are in a plasma. The aurora is a plasma. It's called a Z-pinch plasma. And Don Scott talks about an electrically driven sun, but all of the Birkeland currents and all that stuff he talks about are plasmas. In 1950, the accepted theory was uniformity, that nothing ever happened drastic on the Earth. The solar system had no electromagnetic fields. The solar system was exactly the way it's been for billions of years. and that mythology was pure fiction. Velikovsky came along and said, all of those aren't true. That, well, basically just the opposite, that you have electromagnetic fields that are important. Mythology is true. You can learn something from mythology. The Earth has had catastrophes. All of the things that you would expect based on uniformity to find in the solar system, you're not going to find, because those four things are not correct. And of course, everybody said, yeah, you're nuts. And he said, for example, that Jupiter would emit radio noise, and they thought Jupiter was a cold, dead planet, and that Venus would be extremely hot, while Venus was slightly warmer than the Earth because they were both identical histories. And when they started sending up all the space probes, they found that what he said turned out to be true, and what they said didn't. I'd given a talk about all of the surprises in the solar system that they have discovered during the space age. The title was, Why So Surprising? My talk was about just example after example of those kind of surprises that were found in the solar system. This explained that the four things we talked about previously that was accepted in the academic world that turns out not to be true, and it is now accepted that those four things that were thought in 1950 are not true. And had they accepted that in 1950, they wouldn't have had all those surprises. So basically, I went through a lot of explanation about pointing out that, for example, people now say that mythology is not only probably based on something that happened, but that you can find geological evidence supporting what they were saying. And so I went through a lot of examples of each of those four things, explaining why in 1950 people thought this, they no longer think that, here's why they no longer think that.